My name is Jack Knight Lodge Winters, and this is Jack Frost University. I wanted to do a video biography today and kind of talk about my life growing up and everything and how I got to where I'm at right now. um, so I'm 40 years old right now. I was born, the name on my birth certificate is Brant Owen DeBoard, and I was born on September 24th, 1978. At 1809, so that's 6:09 p.m., and I was born in Lodi, California, which is in Northern California. And I guess I'm going to start at the age of 15. So at the age of 15, I was living with my dad and my stepmom, and we were in Sonoma, California, Wine Valley. Okay, it's a really small town. A lot of trees, a lot of nature over there in Wine Valley. And at the age of 15, I had joined the United States Naval Sea Cadet Corps. And when other boys my age were collecting baseball cards and playing football, I was already in military uniform with my white cover. I had a white cover, and I had my black Navy uniform. Can't remember. I forgot some of the Navy terminology, but at 15, before I was even able to legally drive, I was already dressed up in military uniform, and I was already doing push-ups for my country at the age of 15. And I remember going to Rhode Island. I remember taking a plane to Rhode Island at that same age, and we went to Rhode Island, some kind of Navy simulator program where we were simulating our Navy ship getting hit by a missile or something, and we were trying to plug up the holes. So I remember being in Rhode Island in some military barracks on a Navy base. We were up to water. We were up to our chest in water, and we were trying to fix this leak. It was really exciting. And then when I got back, I think I had turned 16. I was still in that same program, and I signed up for another program. It was another 2-week kind of miniature boot camp type thing called Club Marine 3, and that was my first introduction into the Marine Corps. I can't even remember the location of this place, but it was called Club Marine 3, and when I first showed up, it was yelling and screaming from the get-go. I mean, even before we got off the bus or got out of the van, you just heard a bunch of screaming and yelling by these drill instructors. And immediately, I don't know, my spirit jumped to attention. I'm like, oh, this is me. This is more me than the Navy. And so I did I don't think it was a full 2 weeks. I think it was 3-day long. Yeah, it was a 3-day long program. It was like a 2 or 3 day long program. And at that point, I dropped my interest in the Navy and switched over to an interest in the Marine Corps. And so, and that kind of, and I just bring that up so people can kind of get an understanding of where I was when I was younger. I was always more mature than everybody else. Everyone else was always fascinated by their bouncy balls, and I was already in full military uniform at the age of 15, and ironing my my uniform and stuff, and Irish pennants, and getting rid of those Irish pennants and stuff like that. So yeah, that's Club Marine 3, and that was kind of fun. That kind of indoctrinated me into the Marine Corps lifestyle. So if you would have seen my room at the age of 15 or 16, you would have noticed that I had a bunch of posters and pictures from Soldier of Fortune. I had sniper rifles and scopes and grenades and men in their sniper outfits and their ghillie suits. And just a bunch of military type photos. And I think as I look back on it, I terrified my father. I must have terrified him because I remember him saying that he was asking the pastor of our church what he should do and how he should deal with this. Because my dad was in construction and he built houses and he built homes and he built fences and um, so he's kind of a creator type. He's kind of likes to build things, and I've always considered him to be an honorable man, but just kind of simple. And I terrified him. I literally just terrified him. He didn't know what to think about all that, and he was always praying over me and asking people about me, like, what's with the sniper stuff? Because I was obsessed with fighting and killing and death, and I joined the Marine Corps and enlisted in the Marine Corps at the age of 17. I was actually so young that I had to get my mom to sign my permission slip to join the military. The minimum age was 18, so mom had to sign for me. I graduated high school with Sonoma Valley High, and I got my diploma, barely, but I got it, and I joined the Marine Corps. So I went to boot camp at the age of 17 in MCRD San Diego, so Marine Corps Recruit Depot in San Diego. We did that for 3 months. I did all 3 phases there. Graduated. After I came back from leave, went to School of Infantry training, SOI training in San Diego as well, Camp Pendleton. And I trained, from there I went to, my permanent duty station was in Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, which was kind of nice. I was actually surprised. That was a nice duty station, Hawaii, right? And I was with the 0311. I was at 0311. That was my MOS. So I was in the infantry, and I was a ground pounder. We got to go on deployment to Okinawa, Japan, which was kind of cool. Actually, it was really cool. I really liked Asia. I love Southeast Asia. So we went on deployment, my battalion. We went to Japan, and from there we kind of stemmed out a little bit, and we went to Hong Kong, South Korea, where we trained with the ROK Marines, the Republic of Korea Marines, and that was actually really exciting as well. And let's see, where else? Hong Kong. I'm missing something here. Hong Kong, Korea. Oh, that was it. Hong Kong, Korea, and we lived in Japan for 6 months. Okinawa. I trained with, I carried an M249 saw, squad automatic weapon, and that was the biggest piece of shit that you could ever imagine carrying around. It was heavy, it jammed up all the time. The slightest little bit of sand or debris and that thing would jam up. It was not always easy to get that thing unjammed. I was really disappointed in that weapon. I did fire the M16, much better weapon, even if it wasn't, it maybe not have sent as many rounds downrange as the saw, but at least it fired. So I was much happier when I switched over to the M16 and got to carry that around for a while. I was really, really disappointed that they were teaching Taekwondo. I was really disappointed, actually. Taekwondo is an inferior martial art by far. It can't even be compared to Jiu-Jitsu or any other. Almost anything is better than Taekwondo. It's just an embarrassing martial art. So I realized while I was in the Marine Corps and getting trained and conditioned that if we went to war, we were probably going to lose. It's just embarrassing. It made me realize early on that resources weren't really being spent on the Marines. I don't know what the other branches were learning or what the Special Forces were learning, but just regular infantry, they're teaching us Taekwondo. And even only, once every 3 months, I think. And I was a bit ashamed of that fact, I remember. So it was a good time. Spent my weekends partying in Waikiki, getting drunk in the Keys, staying at nice hotels like the Halikoa Hotel over there in Waikiki Beach. I signed up for, after our deployment to Japan, I signed up for embassy duty, and I got MSG duty, Marine Security Guard, where you get trained by security forces and everything. Those are the guys that salute the president when he comes out of the train, or out of the plane, or when he enters the plane, rather, or his little helicopter. And those are the guys that guard the embassies throughout the world. So that's what happened there. And then what happened is, I started having breakdowns. I started having massive panic attacks and anxiety attacks. I think my past and my upbringing, primarily from my mother's side, started creeping in, and I started breaking down. I started having anxiety attacks, and I went to a counselor. I remember I went to talk to the counselor, or the, what do they call it, the religious guy, forget his position. There's a position, there's a name for this. Chaplain? Went to the chaplain, both, and to the counselor, and I started discussing. I said, hey man, I'm having problems, like, I just feel like I'm breaking down here a bit, and I don't really know what to do about it. And they relayed that to the captain of my unit, and he started drilling into me a bit, and I did not tolerate that too well. I've since then discovered that I have, like, really, I have authority issues. I have real big time issues with authority, and I'm actually okay with that. It's something I'm at peace with. There's a reason for that, So, I ended up getting transferred to the armory, working with a bunch of weapons, and these anxiety attacks just kept hitting me, man. They get harder and harder each time, and I just started breaking down, not really knowing what to do. Went to the chaplain, went to the counselors. They didn't really get anything resolved. In fact, they actually made it worse. As it turns out, more time went by, and I actually threatened to do bodily harm to my commanding officer, and I hit my staff sergeant in the face, hit him in the head, and they started speaking to me in a way that I just did not like. My ego was just not allowing it. So I ended up doing 3 months in a military brig, and I was discharged with a bad conduct discharge. I got out, and that didn't really stop me. It didn't really put a dent in my plans. I was actually kind of hurt, though. I was hurt because I went to a counselor and I asked for help. I said, hey man, I'm having problems. I didn't get any help. Actually, they made it a lot worse. But I took it as a sign of transition to something else. I take signs from God. I take signs from the universe. Sometimes things aren't meant to work out for good reason. So I got out, and I started working as a computer technician for a corporation, making a lot more money than I was making in the military. And I actually found a nice niche, and I was doing something that I enjoyed.